Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to take a look at the newest premium tank, but before we do, if you enjoy this video, please do hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well, because it really does help out my channel. Alright, so the newest premium tank. What is it? And should you buy it? Those are the two biggest questions. It's the TCM AGS, which means, and I'm going to try and say this right, Teledyne, not sure which, Teledyne Continental Motors Armoured Gun System. And for the purposes of this video, I'm going to stick with AGS because that's just too much of a mouthful to keep rattling off every time I say something about this tank. It is a light tank with a 9-shot autoloader, and it is the first Era 3 premium light tank. Instead of boring you with all the stats and individual numbers here and there, I'm just going to talk about how it feels to play for me, and I'm going to give you my opinion on this tank. My setup is the advanced concealment, traction system and advanced powertrain, which is a pretty standard loadout for any Cold War light tank in my opinion, and I'm not having a great start to this game. Missed 2 or 3 of my shots and I've taken damage in return, so at this point in the game I thought, oh boy, this is going to be crap. But I'll let this game play out. Anyway, the reason I have that equipment on my lights is because I want to go fast and want to stay hidden. This tank isn't a ghost. You do need to be aware of how close you are getting to the enemy. And I think the days of being a proxy spot skeeter flying around the map unseen and undetected are behind us. And yeah, I know for those that like playing light tanks in Cold War, sad face to that. The AGS does have good speed once it gets up to speed. It does feel like it takes a little longer to get up to speed than I would like, and it also feels a little sluggish going up any sort of incline, and that is with the power boosting equipment. My personal feeling is that this tank should be played like it's a light medium. Don't get me wrong, it is quick, but it doesn't turn all that well. The hull traverse does let it down a little bit. It does end up feeling like a medium rather than the snappy light tanks, the snappy other the other light tanks that we have in the game. It just doesn't quite feel the same with the slow hull traverse. And what ends up happening is when I tried to play this like a light tank, its lack of a sort of ability to turn meant that I was having to use the handbrake a lot just to get the nose of the tank round in any kind of turning fight. But every time you use the handbrake, you lose speed, which is not good when you're in a tank that's a little bit sluggish getting up to speed, and you just end up grinding to a halt when you're trying to circle someone, unless you're in the middle of a massive open field or empty strip of desert or what have you. And that's why I feel as though this doesn't quite play like a traditional light tank. Nah. This is all sounding a little bit bad, actually. But it's not all bad. It isn't all bad, I will say that. This tank's redeeming feature is the gun. It's got a gun, 9 shots, autoloader, 421 mil of penetration, and an average damage roll of 480, which is pretty good. The interclip reload is 3.5 seconds, which is longer than I'd like it to be, but it is what it is. And if we do the maths for all of that, that comes out at 4,320 damage over 31.5 seconds. That's if you pen every shot. I have 6 skills on my crew. I think on this crew. I think I have 6 skills, and my reload is 31 seconds, and I have the 10% reload reduction skill on this crew. So basically you'll be shooting for as long as you're reloading, and that might sound terrible, but having played this tank, I can say that the reload was not something that I felt was a problem. I mean, in this situation here, I went in to reset the cap. That was why I just YOLO'd straight in there to reset the cap. And shooting at T-72s in Cold War is just forget about it unless you're behind them. So, nothing new there really. But another redeeming feature of this tank is the gun placement. Much like the M50, you can hold down in this thing and expose basically nothing that is worth shooting back at. And this game's just come to an end, and we got MVP. I will admit, I think I've only got MVP because I was shooting that AFK T72 up the back. But, you know, hey, that happens. So MVP, decent silver, decent crew XP, good game. On to the next one. And this is actually the first game I ever played in this tank. But sitting hull down in this thing is the way to play it. Play it like a light medium, play it hull down, because, well, the only thing to shoot back at is this really thin, well, it's the barrel and the gun block at the back. That's pretty much it. And it bounces everything. I was bouncing a lot of shots when I was sitting hull down, and it's a light tank. It feels really good to do that, in my opinion. So, yeah, the gun placement and the gun itself are this tank's redeeming features. It's got a 50% silver boost, 25% XP boost, 10% commander XP boost, and a 5% free XP boost. That's nothing game-breaking there, but given it's a Cold War tank and it's a light tanks are pretty powerful in Cold War. You know, a 50% silver boost is nice. Not the best, but it is nice. So, if I were to, you know, round things off just generally for this tank, I would say it's a light tank, but you have to play it like a medium. You can't count on the armor because it's a light tank. Its armor is a light tank's armor, and that fight there you just saw, that's an example of how it just not quite quick enough to turn and, you know, do what a light tank would normally do. But getting back onto what this tank is, this is an ambush tank in my opinion. You don't want to be the focus of fire. Leave that to your teammates. What you want to do is get around the back of people and unload all 9 rounds before shooting off again to reload. You have the speed to do it, and that is how I would recommend playing this tank. Now, like I mentioned at the start of this game, this is the very first game I ever played in this tank, so I wasn't quite sure what its playstyle was. But when how can I put this? It was very quickly apparent to me that this wasn't your traditional light, and that's why I'm not playing it like I normally would a light tank. Normally I would be on the edges of the map trying to spot things, but here I don't have missiles, so I'm getting in close, I'm using the gun, and I'm using my speed to relocate if I get into trouble, rather than trying to sit and fight like you would in any, well, light tank or a medium. Now, this is the kind of painful part, I would say, of this overview or this review for this tank. It's the first Era 3 premium tank, and it does not come cheap at all. This is not cheap by any stretch. It's over 17,500 gold for the primed package, and just under 16,000 gold for the fully loaded package. Now, from memory, I don't know exactly, but from when I saw the loading screen for this, I believe that was approximately £45, and I don't know what the exchange rate is at the moment. That's probably, what, $60? It's not cheap. That's a lot of money. Is it worth it? My short answer is no, it's not. It's a light tank in Era 3. If you want to play light tanks in Era 3, go play the Bradley. It's more fun, and it's free. So, hey, can't go wrong there. And with only 3 tanks left alive in this game, I struggled to get the final shots on this last T72, and this is an example of another downside of this tank is you're going to be shooting a lot of T72s and you bounce, but then you pen like that. So it's Era 3, well, I would say Shooting any T-72 in Cold War is a real pain for any tank you're in, really. But, you know, you have to use the speed of this vehicle to get around the back of these tanks and shoot them where they're weakest, right up the back. One tank left alive. I'm reloading. I was hoping to get around the back, but the team has swarmed up that hill, caught the M1 off guard, and he's now dead. Okay, so that's about all I have for this one. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If not, a dislike. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and as always, I hope you're all still keeping safe, and I will see you out there.